Roll4Crit.com presents How to Play Star Wars Armada in 5 parsecs or less or more. Star Wars Armada lets you and a friend battle it out in space with awesome Star Wars miniatures. It's a lot like Star Wars X-Wing, only bigger. Or sometimes smaller. Designed by James Niffen and Christian T. Peterson and published by Fantasy Flight. To begin, you'll need an area of play 3 feet by 4 feet, or 3 feet by 3 feet using only the ships in the base game. Then, each player picks a side, Rebels or Imperial, and receives or chooses the appropriate ships, squadrons, dials, cards, and tokens. The player with the lowest fleet points total gets to decide who goes first. Now, in Star Wars Armada, there are ships and there are squadrons, which are collections of smaller ships. Each ship has its own speed dial, which can be adjusted according to its card's speed chart, while squadrons have one constant speed. Ships have 4 separate hulls which can be defended and attacked from, each with its own separate shield value, while squadrons just have a flat hull value with no shields. After optionally choosing objectives and placing obstacles, players take turns placing their forces 1 ship at a time or 2 squadrons at a time within distance 1 to 3 of their side of the playing field. Squadrons must begin within 1 to 2 distance of a larger ship. Now the game can start. The first thing players will do on their turn is choose commands via these handy-dandy command dials. Only ships have command dials and may have more than one depending on their command value. Each player secretly selects the command they want and places it face down next to the relevant ship card. If you've got more than one command dial for a ship, then on the first round of the game you'll select all of them and place them on top of each other so that they'll later be played in order from top to bottom. In later rounds, you'll only need to set one of those dials per turn. Then, players take turns activating one ship at a time. When a ship is activated, its command dial gets flipped, and that command can either be used right away for its full effect, or you can take a token to perform it as a lesser effect in a later round, in addition to your regular command. Ships only perform one command dial command per turn. What that means is that if you've got a stack of command dials, only the top one will be used right away, so you're doing some future planning. Your potential command options are as follows. Navigate lets you change your speed by 1 and helps you maneuver better. Squadron lets you activate squadrons within range to attack and move before their regular turns begin. Repair gives you points depending on your engineering value to recover or redirect ship damage, and Concentrate Fire, which gets you an extra die when attacking. After choosing how to use your command dial, the ship can attack. To attack, first pick which hull zone you're attacking from. Then see who's in range and within your firing arc for that zone using the range ruler. Your target can either be one specific zone of an enemy ship or any number of enemy squadrons you can get to. Ships can make 2 attacks per turn, 1 each from 2 separate hull zones. The dice you roll to attack are indicated by the relevant hull zone or a flat value if attacking a squadron. Your distance from your target could impact your dice as well. If it's at long distance, only red dice can be used, at medium, red and blue, and at close range, all 3 colors. You'll also need to check for line of sight to your target, measuring outward from this yellow dot. If your shot is obstructed by an obstacle, you roll 1 less die. These are accuracy symbols. Each ship and some squadrons have their own defense tokens which it can spend after an attack is made against it. For each accuracy symbol rolled, the attacker can cancel one of these tokens. These symbols are hits. Each hit is 1 point of damage. Damage goes first to the shield of the defending hull zone, then directly to the ship or squadron if there are no shields. Damage normally comes in the form of face-down damage cards. If a ship has as many damage cards as its total hull value, it's destroyed. If at least 1 critical hit symbol is rolled, then the first damage card that would be assigned to a ship goes face up and applies a negative effect to it. Each ship has different sets of defense tokens. Redirect lets you move some or all damage to an adjacent hull zone. Evade lets you cancel or force your attacker to re-roll a die depending on their distance. Brace cuts the total damage in half, and Scatter cancels all attack dice completely. A defense token can only be used once per attack, then it's exhausted. If used again during a second attack while exhausted, you lose it completely. Finally, your ship gets to move. Place the maneuver tool against either front corner of the ship, lift it up, and carry it along the track to its destination. You must move the full amount of your current speed and make sure that you won't be overlapping the maneuver tool when you land. Depending on your ship, you can also turn certain joints a certain number of times in order to move in different directions. If your final placement would overlap any other ships, you must move backwards to the nearest speed marker that would be clear of it. Then, both ships take one face-down damage card as they have collided. If the ship would overlap any squadrons, the other player gets to rearrange them wherever they want, so long as they're touching the base of the ship that moved. Obstacles on the field can hurt you if landed on, or help you in the case of the station piece. Each player goes back and forth until all ships have activated in this way. Then squadrons get to go. Squadrons get activated 2 at a time by each player and can do one of 2 things. They can attack, which follows the same basic rules as ship attacks, although the dice rolls change depending on their target. Or they can move. Squadron movement is simpler. They can go any direction around them within range of their card's listed speed. If a squadron is already activated during the command phase, they don't get to move or attack again. If a squadron is within distance 1 of an enemy squadron, both squadrons are engaged and cannot move or fire on any ships until the other squadrons are dealt with. After this, the round is over. Tokens and cards get flipped and refreshed, and things start again. There are 6 game rounds. Each ship and squadron is worth a certain number of fleet points. Whoever has managed to destroy their enemy's forces with the highest combined fleet value is the winner. Of course, if one player completely destroys the other's ships before then, they win the game early. In conclusion, command, attack, move, join me, and together we can rule the galaxies, father and son. That's Star Wars Armada in a nutshell. Did you get all that?